let you know what basically we would be going through this 2 to 3 months of training. Since I come to a point that I can understand that a lot of participants are joining from very beginner level, at least on the automation side, though you guys have a good, strong networking skill. So the first part here would be where we will be learning Python theory. So Python theory would be easy 10 hours of syllabus where we cover from basic till the Python ops concept, inheritance, the class, the objects, the methods, all this will be covered till the end of the Python theory. So once the Python theory is done, then we get into the Python libraries. And within the libraries, we cover NetMiko, NEPAM, Paramiko, PyNTC, NEPAM, and some of other non-SSH capable libraries like Scapy, Subprocess. These are the Python libraries, and we would be kind of doing or working on more number of case studies like fetching up OSPF neighbor, storing of the backups, doing the periodic backups, or reading from Excel file, or kind of like taking the output, making use of some regex concept and storing the values in the Excel, which could be forwarded to the management, or doing the troubleshooting or trying to do the configuration. So various networking tasks that normally the guys do in the manual way or traditional way, we will see them by doing automatically, how the automation is done on the day-to-day task. Okay, this is it for Python curriculum. Once we have good grip with Python and its libraries, then we will get into Ansible. And in Ansible as well, I would cover more number of topics, like we start with basic writing of playbook, then we go towards the Ansible Galaxy or Ansible Jinja templating. We will be talking about Ansible Tower or Ansible AWX product. We will be talking about Ansible Vault, Ansible, right? So these are some of the Ansible topics. Majority of things would be covered. But when I'm covering this, I will not only be focusing on Cisco product. I would prefer it to be multi-vendor. So I'll keep it Palo, F5, and Cisco. And rest, you know that these things can easily be adopted to any other vendors as well. If you have FortiGate, you have Sophos, you have any other XYZ vendors, you can easily make some tweaks on the existing script or existing playbook, and you can adopt this to any other vendors as well. So automation is doable or adoptable to any vendors. You just need to know the fundamentals or the logic behind any playbook writing or any script writing. And then easily you can change few factors, like let's say from iOS you change it to iOS XE, or you change it to a pan OS, or you change it to FTD. The same script with some more changes can be adopted to another vendor. So I'll show you all those tricks in this, how you can kind of learn for iOS, then you can convert it into any other XYZ vendors. Okay. So from Ansible coverage, then we will get into the API automation. So you know that most of the core layer devices, especially uh, let's say SD-WAN, ACI, SD Access, Palo Alto Dashboard, Panorama, FortiGate Manager, FTD. These are all some of the technology which works on dashboards, HTTP based, especially. So these HTTP based dashboards you can automate via API, okay, application programming interface. So we'll talk about REST API configuration, the netconf automation. So I'll be again discussing from multi-vendor perspective. We will discuss the API automation for Palo Alto, F5, Cisco device, so that when you see more number of examples, you will have more grip on that particular topic. Then after that, the as I said you that I also work on PyAT for the regression testing, etc., where we validate the protocol, etc., which is the component called PyATS. Okay, the Cisco PyAT is basically a patent product, but nowadays Cisco PyAT can be adopted for any other vendors as well. It's open source. So I will show you how the testings are done, how a protocol testings are done. How do you kind of write a test case and generate the report, right? So that portion also is around a 6 to 8 hours of portion where we will see how to create a test bed, how to write a Python script. Basically, PyAT is built on Python, so you don't need to learn something from scratch. Okay, you can have that Python knowledge, and then you're building some script over on the Python using the test cases, and we will see how we can validate the protocols. We can see how BGP is learned, how we get a complete output just by a matter of a click. You write your script, you press enter, the script will run through all the 40 plus BGP commands and give you final output saying that this neighbor is down, this is this kind of a testing that we do in a production. So after the PyArts, then we will get into the Cisco Devnet curriculum. And this is again kind of the official curriculum. Some people need certification or focus on certification. That is why we have included one topic which can help the student to get the certification for either could be a job switch or it could be something the uh, KRA from the company that by the end of this year you need to be this certified. It could be any reason. That is why we have included one official certificate, and you know that this kind of match the requirement of a network automation engineer, right? So this is a associate level, and in case you need professional or the next level, also we have those dedicated training. And after all this 4 to 5 modules in depth, I would be giving kind of project in between completion of the modules. Let's say we completed module one, we will give you some project. We give you, let's say we completed the second module, I'll give you some project from that topics. So the intention is you start writing. Okay, it's not that I do something on over on the class, over on my screen, and you keep watching. The intention is when the projects are given, you start thinking on the logic, what logic you need to use, and you can start coming up with your own script writing. This would be evaluated, and in case if you have any doubt, this would be also kind of taken in the live class, and then I'll guide you on like what went wrong and how could you fix the issues. So there are 10 projects that would be given totally spread across the batch. And at the end of everything, there will be another 2 to 3 projects reserved with multiple ask from here and there from all throughout the portion. So this is from the curriculum point of view. This easily takes us 2 to 3 months, or additionally might be 1 more month, depending upon how we go and how the things are covered up. So I'm not going to skip any topic. In case if you need to repeat, I'm okay to repeat any topic, even though we are extending a class or a week. That's totally fine with me. But the end agenda is that you guys, when you're done with the course, you can write your own script. You can do the production scripting, or you can kind of uh, take some quality information or knowledge from the whole batch. Okay, that is the main intention here. So I'll put this link which you can check out later in detail what are we covering, and in case if there is something which we want to be put up in the class, then let me know. I will also cover up that particular script in the class. Let's say if you are working on some project and you want some help on that particular thing, you can let me know, and then I'll discuss about that in the live class. Okay. I hope we are good. Any question so far?
Sagar, I have one question. Like CCNP automation is this is same syllabus or any difference is there?
See, CCNP automation is actually lesser than the Cisco Devnet 200901. Here you will learn more number of topics than your CCNP concentration automation paper.
Okay.
Okay.
Once I complete this course, I can give that paper, right?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay. And if there is anything different or apart from this, then I'll help you with this those topics also.
Yeah, that SD-WAN automation and
Those are covered already in the DevNet. That is why I said DevNet Associate covers more number of topic than your CCNP automation enterprise topic.
okay, okay,
This is already covering those SD-WAN automation, Meraki automation, ACI automation, NetConf, REST API. Everything is covered here.
okay. Thank you.
Sagar, regarding Python introduction part as well as you mentioned in Ansible, is that enough for the what we are gonna write code? Should we go for in-depth of any extended topics, example, OOPS concept kind of stuff?
See, it depends on you. If you want to write a script without ops concept, you can write it. But if you want to write any script with the ops concept, so that is also doable. And that is what I will be covering in the Python theory. I'll show you how can you write your own ops concept within the Python scripting.
Okay, this 8 modules is more than enough, but we have to be thoroughly regarding this 8 concept about Python. Am I right?
Yes, this is
Yeah.
this is also including the ops concept also.
Okay, okay. So Ansible is because what I heard about that Python as well as Ansible is a use concept. Whatever you mentioned, those topics are I thought enough for the automation, isn't it?
You mean from the module 9 or
Yeah,
module 1 to 8?
module 1 to 8 as well as comes to Ansible topic, Ansible module.
Okay. Okay, I actually didn't get your question.
No. Whatever you mentioned, Ansible is that fine, or should we go for any more topics? That's
No,
what
no.
I'm asking.
This will cover all the topic for Ansible. Don't worry. We are also
Yeah,
covering Ansible Galaxy, which is kind of advanced topic also.
from
Which
basic onwards, each and
yes.
every module. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. See, this might look stringed up, but you need to expand to see what are the content within that.
Got you. Thank you.
All right. So, guys, let's move further. A generic question, basically. Since you all guys know you guys are from the networking background. So, what are those things which you think needs to be automated, or what do you think is the challenge for a network engineer these days, or why this automation is booming in the industry, network industry, and what are some those tasks which you normally do manually and you kind of want to automate? So this will help the participant to kind of think from a broader view and visualize the things. What is network automation? Because there are some people, they still are confused to understand what is network automation. So this is where we will kind of have a interactive session. You guys can put some points. I am going to write it on my screen so that at the end of this topic, the especially those people who are never been into automation, they get to a kind of conclusion. Okay, the automation is used for this purposes. Correct?
Yeah, actually, in our organization, when multiple devices need to be configured or need to be taken some data from that, at that time, script is helpful. But actually, I am unable to understand the regex means regional expression in the Python.
Okay. No, I'm asking the question, what are the challenges? So first, let's kind of discuss on that topic. So what
Yeah,
are those traditional things?
yeah, we can
Traditional
say taking backups every day or upgrades. I
or
mean,
maybe for
kind of
some
doing upgrades on multiple devices.
and for data analysis as well. you need some data to be analyzed, and you need data from the multiple devices. Fourth will be the API, or in today's environment, all the devices supports API. Mostly all devices supports API. So we need to understand that, because to get the data from the not from the CLI based, but from the GUI based as well, like the load balancer and so all those supports. If we have to get the a web configuration, we need to use the API calls.
Okay. So let me put it as automating the dashboards.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
We can also use for creating multiple objects across multiple devices.
Config push.
Firewalls, you mean to say?
Yeah, if interface goes down or whenever devices are goes down, also to know that.
Monitoring health checks.
Yes.
Yeah, monitoring you can mention.
Config push to the multiple devices at the same time.
Yeah. Hello, Shivendra Singh here. Good evening, all of you.
Yes.
Actually, in terms of FI, okay, there are a lot of tasks we are doing repeatedly. One of that creating the web, okay, then updating the iRule, then renewing the certificate, then creating the wide IP. So this types of tasks in terms of FI.
So this particular thing, we can actually put it across on this as well. That is dashboard automation. Okay.
Okay.
But yes, as I told you, when we talk about multi-vendor, FI is one of the examples that I would be considering. So what else do we do in the network side?
To fetch the configuration as well as to push the whatever we required config as well.
Yeah, so config is done.
Okay.
And the data analysis I have put here, which with data analysis, I mean to say that preparation of reports.
Yeah, fetching the data and then parsing it and then putting it in Excel sheet or in a
Yeah.
You
can say comparing the configurations between the devices.
Correct. Yeah, diff check.
SolarWinds will take backup and all everything. Like then, like scripting will also use according to that, or like any other.
When you say SolarWind is paid version, and company or enterprise pay a lot of dollars to these third parties. So here is where we are finding an alternative which is open source. Python is completely open source.
Okay.
It's free of cost. If you have a skilled engineers, they can build the complete setup, and you can replace this SolarWinds, which is a cost cutting for an enterprise company.
Okay, and
also, yeah, we can configure, automate the site-to-site VPN, GRE VPN.
Yes, this all comes under, let's say, configuration part. Okay, config push.
And also, there's like a risk of human error. I mean, when you have like multiple different vendors and like a lot of devices, doing manually is cumbersome. So it will eliminate human errors also.
Yes, this is one of very important kind of terminology, or I can say one of the important factor why most of service companies nowadays, not service companies, especially the clients, they don't want engineers to manually log into the device and put the config. They are basically asking the service company to bring the automation scripts and let the script do the SSH or HTTP to the device and then kind of execute the thing, because they think humans can do human error by copying the R1 config on R2 or R2 config on R4. But if you write a script, the scripts are kind of validated by some persons from the client itself, we can say. And on the day of the change window, the client, what he does, he just execute it. So this is like to avoid human errors. And most of the client nowadays demands to kind of run automation and all the changes to be done via automation only, not by any manual logins to the device. You don't get manual logins to these days to the client environment.
Yeah. Also, yeah, it helps within downtime. I mean, eliminate the downtime because business, they don't want their network down for a long period of time. So,
Yes, so you can put this once again within the monitoring column, that if there is something down, the alerts are triggered, goes to the monitoring tool, let the L1 or the NOC team get notified. They have their internal script. By running that, they get to know kind of like, let's say BGP1 down, what is the name of this ISP, and let the next level kind of do the analyzes and kind of find the root cause. Okay, some automation which we can think from the complete cycle. So what else do you think normally we can automate? Any corner scenarios?
Yeah,
when
hello,
you do
Sagar.
also when you do a maintenance window, I mean, I think it must be on the response monitor, but when doing a maintenance window, it will lower the time. So that brings, I mean, you can do it more efficiently than doing manually.
Yes, that is one of the use cases. Basically, let's say one engineer is assigned 5 changes on a maintenance window. He wind up with first, then go to second, then go to third, fourth, and fifth. But if you have done things beforehand on the scripting side, you can open 5 tabs, 5 different scripts validated on previous day itself. So on the maintenance window, you just execute. Things go on parallel side. There is a concept in Python called multi-threading, which increase the elapsed timing. Say, for example, if one device takes 10 seconds for the execution, with automation, with introducing concept of multi-threading, you can run, say, 50 devices all in 10 seconds. So with this, what happens, even if you have 2000 plus devices or 5000 plus devices, it just takes, might be 40 minutes to run the complete script and get done with the things. But the same 5000, if you think from manual effort, then this will take months to kind of get these things sorted out. Okay, so that is kind of like power of automation, speed, what we calls. Okay, we have one case studies where I'll be talking about the speed also. So one of the case studies where in Netmico, sorry, not in Netmico, in Normio, I'll show you the multi-processing and multi-threading concept, and I'll show you the speed that is required or what is called elapsed time and what happens in the automation parallel threading. Okay, what else?
Hi, Sagar. Vamshi this side.
Yes, Vamshi.
So, I mean, when the traffic is much more on the servers now, the servers cannot handle any more traffic. So, at that time, based on the incoming traffic, can we create like the new servers like virtually and divert that in new what else the remaining traffic to the new servers and handle the user traffic?
You can create the new VMs by automation. Okay, but the decision again comes from the network engineer itself. Okay, you can load balance the traffic, but the
Yeah.
creation and the other things, that depends. Like if you really want to create, yes, you can do that. But if you kind of want some sort of approval or some sort of IP addressing to be allotted to them, then that's kind of a decision maker scenario by your management. So it goes via some management process and all those things.
I mean, like it's already pre-approved. Like if the load is more, you can create. If the load is less, you can minimize the server count. Like.
Yes, you can automate that process also. For that, these days for cloud
In
and
Ansible.
yeah, server management, this Terraform and Ansible is highly used, where this all server management can be effectively handled.
Thank you.
Okay. So anyone heard about the concept of regex, also called regular expression?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, what does it do? How it help us?
So in that, let's say that we need to have the uptime, and only we need to have uptime is 30 minutes. So we can have the output as a 30 minutes, and we can save it is in an Excel sheet.
Okay, so you
No,
mean
just to add to it, regex is nothing but, I mean, basically the way of how we want to filter something.
okay? So basically, with the regular expression, we kind of write a query. This query will be sent across on our CLI commands. It could be any commands like show IP into brief, show version, or show run. And once this query matches with that, I get the data, only the data. Okay, data is nothing but piece of information. And this data, I am gonna put in my Excel file. So let's say my management wants me to create a audit report where I want to kind of log into all 1,000 devices and see the current running version, see the current uptime, then the version current running version, the hard disk space left on that, the bandwidth utilization. So they are expecting me to create an Excel, right? So usually in the traditional networking, if it is 50-20 device, might be the engineer login, uh, put the copy paste to an Excel and prepare the report. But with the help of regular expression, by writing queries against this commands, we can generate the data, and using some Python libraries like Excel RD, Excel WT, we can put back those data into Excel. So I can put a header like host name here. I can put the management IP details here. Then I'll keep this column for let's say uptime. I'll keep this column for the current iOS version. I'll keep this column for the current or the free space. Okay, and this is for serial number or whatever purpose it is. Now to prepare this few columns for so many devices, definitely it will take month of time. But with our Python script, I can just generate it in like 5 to 15 minutes. My report is ready. And I have the exact data that my management is looking for. So this is power of automation. Now, how you automate is again the second question. So for that, you have multiple tools now, you have multiple languages now, you have multiple frameworks now, you have kind of SDK packages now, but all together they are built on one or other programming language. So Python, Java, C, C++, these are all some of the programming language. This is called as an interpreter programming language. That means line by line is checked before it is converting to a test code. Whereas these programs are called as compiler programming. That means once you write a script, the entire script will get converted into a test code and then is read by machine language. But in the case of Python, if you have multiple lines, each line gets converted. So let's say if there was an error here, your script is definitely going to give you an error saying line number 1 has an error. But in C, C++, the entire things needs to get converted, and then it is gonna give you an error saying that error on line 2. So these are different concept here. Interpreter, compiler. So Python is an interpreter programming language, and it's also called lightweight program. That means something which you want to do on Java or C++ with more than 100 of lines. The same thing you can do it here with 10 lines. So it's a lightweight program. Is also called object oriented programming. All the features, let's say as a library developer, let's say if there is a developer who is creating a library called netmiko, okay, so he has kind of built the blocks for almost all the different features here. Let's say you want to call something for sending the command, you want to push the configuration, you want to handle errors, let's say you want to have some SNMP blocks. Now these are all converted into objects and we can call them. So we as a network engineer, we will just write a script calling to this main library. It's called calling the library with the keyword import. And with leveraging what someone has developed, we will just kind of use add-ons, or we will just use 10% additional on what is something built. So we are not going to write the library. We would be leveraging some library and then kind of uh, use it. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So Python is called lightweight program. It's called interpreter program. It's object oriented program. Okay. So these three things you remember as because you are going to start with the Python automation. And also Python is these days on top one, beating all its competitor. So for that, you can just Google and check the kind of what is a most popular programming language. You will get the indexing indexing chart, and you will understand kind of like on what basis these are decided. So there is something called PL index, which is based on the popularity, and there is something called as a survey done on basis of importance. So those two are kind of like a survey which shows you which programming language is on a peak and what are the different competitors. So these are some of the history behind Python, like when was this first launched, etc., etc. I'll keep this as a reading material for you. I'll give this PDF so you can just go towards this. But yes, I want to tell you about what version we would be using in the program. So we would be using Python 3. The reason is Python 3 and Python 2. They are not backward compatible. Remember that. Usually what happens most of the time, if a new version is being released, they're always compatible with the previous version. Plus it does the advanced thing, plus it will do all the old thing. But in the case of Python 3, they're not backward compatible. If you have something on Python 2, then you need to manually upgrade it to Python 3, because the community support, you will lose your library support. Most of the things have changed from Python 2 to Python 3. So some things are mentioned here as a difference. So there the very frequently used command for print got changed. There was a different meaning for integer division earlier, which has been changed. So they have introduced something called as float now. Okay, uh, do you know something called numbers? So what are these? They can be 1, they can be 2, they can be 3.5, they can be 4.1. It could be anything, right? But in Python, we usually call it as integer and float. So integers are this and floats are this. So the concept of float got introduced in Python 3. So that is what it is about. Then there was something called Unicode support. Now, what happens is in the time of Python 2, most of the things were done on English or English language. This English language, they are basically 1 byte of data, okay, which basically covers A to Z, A to Z in uppercase, and 0 to 9. This used to be the limit, which are almost like 128 units. Okay. But nowadays with Python 3, you expect lot of automation. You can see people using Chinese language or Hebrew, French, or let's say the WhatsApp emojis or Facebook emojis. These are also being used on different contexts. And these are all 2 bytes data, 3 bytes data, 4 bytes data, which cannot be handled by Python 2. So Python 2 was using something called ASCII characters, American Standard Characters. So this also has been upgraded in Python 3 now. Now you make use of concept called Unicode. So Unicodes will backward compatible. Unicodes are backward compatible. If you have something in English that is also can be covered up by Unicode, and plus it will do the support for the 2 byte, 3 byte, and 4 byte data. So Unicode is also introduced in Python 3. That is also a reason why people have to migrate in case they are doing any non-English characters or usage of non-English character in their script. Okay. Also, along with that, there is something called the X-range function. Some of the syntax got changed. Then library support that you are going to miss if you don't upgrade to Python 3. And you know that some time back, that was like 2020, just 2 to 3 years back, when Python 2 was end of life completely. Though it was being announced 5 to 6 years back, but just 2.5 years back, it actually got officially it got end of life from the official communities. Okay, so that is why Python 3, it started with Python 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, etc., etc. Now we can see ourselves over here. These versions are something which is running right now. So to download or to see what is the current version running, you can always go to the official website python.org. They are supported by multiple vendors. See, now the 3.11.3 is running up. Okay. You can find Python programming language on multiple vendors. Windows are supported, Mac OS, Linux, Red Hat Enterprise, CentOS, any other Linux distributions, it is supported. You can download and double click and install if it is a Ubuntu with a single command like sudo apt install Python or pip install Python. So these are different ways we can install Python. So first thing we need is the programming language. Since we are going with Python, first we will talk about only Python automation. So we need Python programming language as the basic block here. On top of Python, we need a IDE concept. Okay. So what is IDE? So let's say I have Python now, which is just a programming language. But where would I be writing the script? I need some application, right? To write a script, I need an application, or I can also say I need a virtual environment to do that. So there is something called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. There are thousands of options available. If you just do a Google for Python IDE, you get thousands of recommendations. But some of the popular ones are Microsoft Visual Studio, PyCharm, Atom, Eclipse. You can also use Notepad++ or Sublime Editor, but as a beginner, don't go with them. Okay, because they will miss concept of auto correction or error detection, auto pop-ups. So a lot of concept these tools like Notepad and Sublime will not have it. So that is why go with the professional tools like Microsoft Visual Studio or Python. These are very heavily used, these two products. Okay. And third that we need is to test this on some end devices. So you can either use a real devices or any emulators like GNS3, EVNG, or CML, Cisco Modeling Lab. It's all your choice, or any software-based images. Like let's say if you have a VM workstation, you can load F5 directly onto that, or if you can also load Palo Alto directly on the VMwares, right? The software version of it. So those three components are needed when you start with Python automation. So how we do that, how we install, how we download, I will show that in a separate class. But for now, to get some idea like what are things you need to get started, then these are some things here. So Python as a programming language, application which you can use it for writing, compiling, debugging, testing your script, and then some devices, network devices, right? You can do it on real device. If you have a lab environment, you have emulators, you have a virtual machines, you can do it. So clear till this point?
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, now again a quick question. I have given a brief some hints to you. What are the different ways to automate? So what are some automation ways? Quickly, if someone can tell me, we just discussed it, but just want to kind of recap the things.
Script,
What script?
like Python scripts.
Yeah, so you can say Python instead of script. You
Okay.
can say Python is a one of the way to automate. What else?
Java, C,
Ansible.
Java and C++. I am see, this is one of a programming language. There were a time when network automation used to be done in Java, and there are now some companies who still do Java automation, but they are very complex. So that is why we have picked up Python, which are alternative for Java and C++. Okay. Okay. What else apart from Java? Oh, sorry, apart from Python, what else we have?
Ansible.
Bash, Ansible.
Okay, Ansible, Bash is one of them.
Paul,
Postman. Postman is application, which is part of the step number 2. Postman
shell
comes here. But on what principle Postman work? What is that called?
REST API.
Yes. Yes.
And Chef and Puppet.
Yes.
maybe shell scripting.
Okay, so I have written Bash. I will put it here itself. Shell scripting.
Okay.
What about Ruby?
Again, Ruby, I'll keep it here. Let's say we have considered Python. So, because there are other languages too, like nowadays you have Golang and all these new names. I will put something called Terraform also for cloud and server management.
Sagar, which is the secured one?
All are secured one only.
Okay.
Because they all are working on the SSH protocol, SSH or HTTPS.
Means all are open source only, or we need to buy any license?
We will come to that. Now that's the next topic here. Here, if I say that I would like to group this guys away from, let's say, these guys. Okay, I don't want to count at least these two for now. Let's say Python, Ansible, and API. If I keep them away, so let's say that I have on one side Python, API, Ansible, and on the other side I have Chef and Puppet. So why I'm differentiating? What could be the logic behind to do that? See, Python, Ansible,
It's a server-side scripting, right?
not that way. There's something up to differentiate this versus this. Have you seen most of people using Chef and Puppet? Have you ever seen anyone using Chef and Puppet?
No,
So what could be the reason?
maybe the license
It
was
is
paid.
it depends on agent actually.
Yeah, see, these are dependent on agent. Okay, whereas these are agentless. So that means, say for example, you get a new contract from one company and they have their own devices, routers, switches, firewalls, servers, Windows machine, proxy, etc. And you are sitting on the remote side. Okay. Now these are, let's say, banking sector who are very much concerned about each and every step here. Now you ask them that you guys have to install some agent on the devices, some third party agent. Will they allow you to do that? So the Chef and Puppet basically need some agent to be installed. A small agent or some sort of extensions that needs to be added on the devices because those agent are gonna send the information to the servers of Chef and Puppet. That is how the dashboard of this Chef and Puppet will have all the information like the bandwidth utilization, the backup copy, the configuration as well. You can do it from Chef and Puppet. But the only ask is you need to install something on the customer's environment, which customer is not happy to do. So he would go and prefer to use Python, Ansible, and API, which are agentless based, agentless. Now you might think, what about security? See, these programming language are needs to be still connected to the devices over SSH or HTTPS. So these are the protocol that's still needed for this agentless tools to get connected. Okay, they're not going via any private sources or any unencrypted sources kind of thing. They are always going with SSH or HTTPS. They can also work on Telnet, but as you know, Telnet is a plain text, so we would also not use this. Moreover, the customer also has disabled the Telnet port. Okay, so we would be only using SSH or HTTPS. So automation is very simple. I mean, if someone, you have a new small scale customer or a mid scale customer, and if they think they need to do a lot of changes in the environment to adopt or migrate to a automation, then that's a uh, wrong thinking, because the most that they need is someone who is already making a SSH, just need to install this few things like Python, some ID, and if he has SSH console or SSH access, then he can automate. He can easily automate the environment of the particular customer. Okay, so it doesn't need any much changes or some migration, some sort of upgrade that you need to do on the customer side, then only the automation works. It's very simple. If someone has SSH to the device, he can put the automation script and he can automate it. And he just need to follow this uh, logic or this steps or this procedure every next time. Okay.
Yes, Sagar, I just have a query. Like, I mean, in our environment, we don't have an option to access the device directly. We have to log in to the some node manager. From there, we have to access the devices. Even on the node manager, we are not allowed to install any Python. But on the desktop, we have it there.
Yeah. So that we will discuss here right now. So let's say that ways to connect devices. Okay, so let me put some steps. So let's say if this is a user, if he's connecting to a VPN client like AnyConnect or Global Protect, if he's they are using a uh, Palo Alto or something. So once they connected to the customer VPN, he is authorized, then he can take a direct connectivity to his corporate. Now he can basically open up those PuTTY sessions, secure CRT session, and connect to the devices using SSH or HTTPS. This is one method to connect the device. The second method could be if a person, user, he's been insisted to connect to the jump server or terminal server or RDP sessions, which is also MSDC. And from that server, he got access to all the backend devices. So this is also one sort of thing. So basically, first he can make use of MSDC, or he will first do a RDP or any Citrix. Then he will get into the jump server, and then from the jump server, he has all the connectivity to SSH or HTTPS. This would be the method. Okay. Now there is one challenge with the second environment, not the first, because in the first thing it's very simple. Since he has SSH, as soon as he connect to the VPN, he can install all the add-ons like Python, programming language, PyCharm, right? Required libraries, etc. He can prepare a script and he can push it to the devices over on SSH or over on HTTPS. But the problem with the second thing is sometimes these jump servers are read only. Sometimes they are read and write capability. So if they are read and write, there is no challenge. Again, you can install the things directly on this. You can put Python You can put the required libraries, and from here you can automate it. Okay. But the scenario in case if they have given a read only permission, okay, only read only permission, in that case, you still have a way to automate. You need to put all the required thing on your device, Python, the libraries, etc. From this side, you will first automate towards the RDP, and then you would connect to the devices. So it's like first connection via script, then second connection to the backend devices. So this feature in Netmiko is called as redispatch feature. So why we use this redispatches in the case where the customer side administrator has not given you any read write option on the jump server and you still want to automate it. So you can do it from your own device. First, get yourself to the jump server, and from jump server, you initiate a connection. So redispatch will help you in terms of changing the device type. So initially, your device type for the first connection would be, let's say, a Linux box. And then the device type towards the Cisco would be, let's say, Cisco iOS. Okay, so very less library has this option, but yes, there is a option to do this sort of automation also. So which method are you guys using to connect to your devices, SSH or HTTP or
Second method.
in second method?
SSH most of the time.
Okay, so you will connect to jump server, and from jump server you do the SSH.
Correct.
So you have a read and write option on the jump server, or
No.
Read only?
Yeah,
It's a read.
We have both RDPs as well as Linux loggers. So what if we want to connect to the over the CLI, then we will use the Linux logger. If we want to connect over the dashboard, then we'll use the RDP to connect those devices.
Okay, and there is no option for any down installations or any Python.
It won't allow us.
Okay, yeah. So you are in that read only column.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. How about others? Which method you guys use?
How about installing? I'm not sure, but if we have the read-only access on the jump node, what if we can install a virtual environment and then do the things? I'm not sure if that is feasible.
Install virtual where? I didn't get you on the
Virtual
jump
environment. Create a virtual environment on the jump station itself.
Yes,
and then that virtual environment you can use for installing your all this required stuff and running the script from there.
Yeah. So basically that would be part of read write option, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
So how many of you fall in first scenario? As soon as you connect VPN, you have your corporate or let's say.
On my case, like with the jump server, but in order for us like to run a script or anything, you have to install it in your local computer. We have admin right on our local computer, but no admin right on the jump server. So whatever script you want to run, you install it on your local computer. Then from there, you can run it.
All right. So let me see what else I have. Okay, so before we get towards Python theory, which I think I'll start from tomorrow, I will show you guys our lab environment now. Okay, I'll show you the lab environment. When we start with the class, I'll show you the installation process. Like what are the different components that we need to download and go step by step. So Python is one of them. ID, we can prefer going with PyCharm. If you want emulators, you can go with anything like EVNG or GNS. Though we give you the complete setup as a home lab, which my backend will help you or assist you in configuring in your laptop. But still, I'll show you kind of on one class like how these are done. Okay. So today I'll take away to you to the lab environment where you will see the ready setup. So we have all the labs over on the cloud. You will be provided with some MSTC information with some details, login credentials. And when you connect to that particular thing, you can go towards any browser, put that particular lab IP, and then you get your lab topology. Okay, so this is one of the lab topology with CSR and the Nexus. Apart from this, we also have one more lab topology for automation class. So this lab topology has multiple vendors. We have Arista, Junos VXRX, Cisco ASA, iOS router, iOS switches. These are from the automation side. And apart from this, we also have some other lab topology.
Can we have the second type of lab topology in the labs?
What is that second method?
Yeah, that connect to the gem server, and from there we connect the boxes.
Yes, that is your production environment. I said in the lab access which we are giving you, that is a MSTC based labs.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we replicate that particular setup at least for 1 or 2 devices?
Yeah, you can replicate. That's not any. And we also have one other lab where we basically put down the vendors like Palo Alto and F5. Okay, so these are how the labs would look like. You can power on them. Let me show you some steps to power on. So you can like right click on them and start the node. The device would come up. Double click to bring up the console. So we have logged most of the labs. Otherwise, what happens is some human error, the cursors get kind of take you from one router to another. So just click on the power button, the device will turn into the blue symbol, or blue icon. Double click. You get the console.
So this is lab pre-installed. This is Peanut lab, right?
Yes.
So it's not working for me. Like, yeah, I have a Mac, but it's not working on a Mac. I don't know.
If you are using M1 chip, then the virtualization will not work. Are you
What do you mean by
M1
M1
chips
chip?
or the Intel Macs?
I mean, the Mac I have is i9 and
Yeah,
it's
see,
Intel.
nowadays the MacBooks comes with M1 chips. The earlier MacBooks used to come with Intel based chips. So virtualization is not supported in M1 chips MacBook. So that could be the reason, or might be your installation process is might be not.
No, it's I mean, it's installed. Everything is installed, but when you run the device, some devices start, some devices doesn't start.
Okay, could be the resources. You can increase the resource and try. Okay. So see this type of consoles you get. Now you can do your basic config to bring up IP or to bring up those SSH because these are, you know, brand new devices which are on your instances. So you need to do all these steps for once at least, and then you can save it. Once you save it, then for until your course gets completed, they do not have to be reconfigured. Okay. So we need to do the basic configs like to bring up a DHCP IP, to bring up the SSH. So let me put some commands for iOS. So let's say I make a host name. I say R01, then I put a username config, username admin privilege 15, password Cisco. I need DHCP IP, so I will go to, let's see what IPs it supports, what Ethernet it supports. It has all Ethernet interfaces. Ethernet 1/0, IP address, DHCP, no shutdown. Then I'm going to create the domain name. Then I'll go to creation of a crypto key, generate RSA modulus 1024. Then I'll go to line VTY 024, login local, transport input SSH. And then if there is an idle timeout, I'll kick out myself. Or if there is any person who is connected, basically my script, if it's connected longer, if the idle connections are all terminated by 10 seconds, that's just the basic configuration. And once this is done, you can write your config. So this configuration you need to copy, go to the console, paste it here. Let me, okay, I'm already in the configuration terminal and copy paste it. Give me 1 second. Okay, this looks like it lost its exclamation mark. Let me make it full screen. Now it's getting copied. Okay, so once the configuration is copied, you can see the changes, you can see the new host name, you can wait for DHCP to release one IP. These are just, okay, the DHCP is over here on the fast Ethernet. So let me make a change. So I'm just doing the basic management to get one IP so that this IP I can reach from my automation tool. I can do a ping, I can do a trace route, then I can kind of write or fetch something. So now you can see I have an IP. So now device has its IP. We make use of the command show IP int brief. You have one IP address with you, 24.179. So next thing that you will make sure is whether you are having reachability to that. So this is a tool. This is PyCharm tool. Let me show you the version. It's PyCharm 2022.3.3 Community Edition. So first I need to see if I have reachability to these devices. You know, these network utility tools like ping, traceroute, etc. You can give a quick check. 172.16.24.179. You can see the ping reachability. And the SSH may not work because of the Diffie-Hellman or these crypto keys mismatch. See, it's trying to negotiate, but there is some cipher value mismatch. So don't be bothered because your automation script will handle this errors. They will auto add the policies by itself. If will find any such errors, it will auto fix it. So next, how do I kind of fetch something from an automation script? I'll go to file. I'll click on new file, new Python file. I will say that my first Python script .py. So I have my workspace. So this is a workspace where I can start writing the script now. I won't be developing the library. I'll be calling the library. Okay. So there is a difference between writing the library and calling the library or using the library or leveraging the library. So how do I call a library? I can use the keyword call import netmiko, or I can go with some specific things like from netmiko import and call the connect handler. So these are two different things, but doing the same functionality. You're calling the library, plus you're more specific about what are you trying to call from that. Okay. So as I told you, the libraries consist of multiple objects or multiple blocks. So now you're more specific about which block you're calling out of thousands of them. Okay. Now, where are this library? Are they in internet? Are they in some website or etc. Or how do we kind of run or how the calling happens? This library needs to be on your local path. So to do that, you need to download. So how would you download? Do you think you will go to a browser, put something, download? No, you don't need to do all that. Go to files, go to settings. When you go to project interpreter, you can click this plus symbol, then look for the library and then just download it. You can see at the bottom, the package is getting downloaded. So it takes maximum like 2 minutes for all the download, indexing, etc. So from layman's point of view, the package which is somewhere available online, you just download it, and this downloaded package will go and sit over here in the site packages. Now this is offline available. You will see that the entire package netmiko with its dependency go and sit in the backend. Now the call is happening to the backend netmiko package, not something which is present in the cloud. You can disable the internet and still work with your automation script. So remember, Python automation are usually when the libraries are downloaded locally. But when you do the Postman automation, API automation, they're all done in a client server architecture. Server will remain somewhere in the internet or somewhere in a different network. So your Postman would be running somewhere and the servers or the destination would be on a different network. But in the case of Python, it will first get downloaded in your local machine, and then you call that particular thing, and then you kind of run this. And to yourself to be on the same network, you have already either connected to VPN, or either you are in the MSTC or RDP, and then you're automating from that particular uh, instance. Okay. So here, let's say if I go with Netmiko import connect handler, basically it's one of the block which belongs to Netmiko. And if I go with direct the calling of the complete package, that is also fine. But later on, whenever you are calling up this function connect handler, you need to put on the package name, something like this. Okay. You can either go with this. See, now you can see this. To activate the first call, you did this workaround. Okay. But if you just want to avoid some more additions or text, you can also go with the short form, and the second way gets activated. So from technical point, there is no much difference calling the first method or second method. You will see some libraries which we would be writing this. Some libraries would be written with this way. So it's your choice how you want to go. I've also shown you, if you go with first method, you need to input the package name as well. Then only this gets activated. If you go with the second method, then just calling that will get activated this line. Okay. So let's say I prefer going with this from Netmiko import connect handler. Now what connect handler does, if you just hover on this function, it is auto fetching the documentation. That's a good thing about this professional tools, which you don't see in Sublime or Notepad++. So connect handler is a block where you can define the arguments or keyword arguments. Okay. If you go with the keyword arguments, then the data will come in the format of dictionary, Python dictionary. If you go with simple argument, that the data will come in the format of set as a Python data types. Okay. So we have not gone through the theory, so you might not understand what is set, what is dictionary. But let me tell you in simple word that these are the ways you can supply some data to this function. Okay, you need to give the details of the device like device IP, username, password, port number, etc., etc. So that information will go to this block, and this block will start processing. Once the process has happened, once the connection is established, there will be something called transport channel between your script and the device. At the same time, if you come to the device and you put this command show line, you can see that someone is accessing your device over on line VTY channels. So see, for example, if you do show line for now, you will not see any user. You will see only one console user. But later on, once you bring up your PyCharm, you are hitting on the run button, you will see that there is one VTY users now. So who is that VTY? That's no one but you yourself, but connected from the package point of view, from the script point of view. Okay. So let's define the device information in the dictionary format. So dictionary formats are key values format. These are some of the keys that I need. I want device type. I need the IP address. I need username. I need password. These are some of the required ones. Apart from this, there is huge collections of different keys that you can use it. But for now, we just can leverage on few items. Okay. And let me also give the IP addressing. So this is the IP addressing 24. So device type, IP, username, password.
Well, if usernames or like passwords are RSA, then how can we achieve?
See, these modules don't support RSA, but what you can do is you can kind of put input command this way, and you can ask the prompt, you can ask the user to input the RSA values to
Okay.
see something like this. Now, what happens? It will ask you for the input method. Now, let's say if I run this at this point.
So we have to manually enter the user credentials. That case, right?
Yes, we have to put that value here, and that will go there, and it will push it to the connect handler.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Then let's say in the next step, I have to connect to the device. So I'm gonna put this as SSH connect. I'll be making use of that function block called connect handler from line number 1. I'm calling basically that now. And this information I will be sending to connect handler via this in a compressed format. So that compressed format needs to be uncompressed, right? So that is why I'm giving two asterisk symbol. It's called as key argument. If you just hover on this, you will get to know why we are using two asterisk. We can use single asterisk as well if you're giving it direct arguments. But now you're going with keyword arguments. So keyword arguments are used when the data information is coming in the dictionary format. Dictionary is nothing but key value pair. If the things are coming via a set or if you're defining directly, then you can go with argument also, single asterisk. Say for example, you can give single star with this, but make sure the device data type is in a different format, in a set format. Okay. As of now, this is a dictionary format. I'm going with double asterisk. I can also take out this and straight away put the information in this way. It's called direct accessing of the values of a dictionary. But this is more manual work. See, this way also I can define one by one. If you keep adding, keep deleting every time you come on line 8 and do a lot of changes. So we don't need all this manual effort. We have something in a compressed format. We are sending or pushing it to connect handler. Let connect handler take it the way it wants itself to process. So first it will take device type. It will see device type is matched or not. Then it will send to the base connection class, and from base connection, these things get triggered up. Okay, so two things connect handler will do. First thing, it will check device type. Okay, the spelling is wrong here. It's TYPE. So let me fix that. So two things it does. It will first check the device type. Then if the device type is good, then it will send to this. If the logins are good, this is established and you can send the command. If this is not good, you get an error instantly saying that the logins are not good. So to check that, what I can do, I can push some command. Let's say I want to fetch, if the connection is good, then I want to push over on this transport, something called send command. And I would like to take output for show IP int brief, and I want to print this particular thing. Output, output, and so and so. Now what will happen? I will get one error. The reason is on line number 3, I have not put any specific thing. This is done. This error is done intentionally. So you get to know what is connect handler going to do or how it is going to treat. See, now you have this error. The error says device type is bad. and it is recommending us to take one from this. So let me go to the Cisco block. I have so many options, but I know that it's a iOS, so I'll quickly take the iOS and fix this. Now connect handler is happy. It will, what it will do, it will then send to the base connection, and in the base connection it will check this. So let me make more error now. Let's see what will happen then. Now you get a different error. Okay, you're not getting the previous error because you fixed it by giving a good value. Now the error is different. So try to read the error. The error says it could be due to invalid username password. It could be SSH key file mismatch, or it's a wrong device that you're connecting. But if you check this, your device type is good, your IP is good, your port number is good. So I guess this can be a culprit. So I come back, I will see these things are good or not, then I'll try to fix that, and then I'll run this. Okay. Now what happens, since the things are good, my connection is established. Over on the transport channel, I am sending a command, show IP in brief, and I do see the output on my screen. So few things after 8, 9, 10, these happens on something called read over the channel, write over the channel. So write is when you're sending it from the client to the server. Let's say, yeah, I'm pushing a command called show IP into brief. So over on the channel, which is now named as SSH transport, it will take those instructions. And we are also expecting something coming back to us from print statement, right? That will happen in the read format. That means I want to read it. So how can I check these few things, these few minor things, that what is happening in the backend? So there is something called logs formation. Okay, or there is a dedicated inbuilt Python library which can, check the backend logs also. So to do that, I can put down one more library. I can say import login. It's a inbuilt library, so I don't need to go to settings and download. It's a part of Python. And already the Python is installed here. I can see Python 3.10, right? I don't need to reinstall it. So I just call it. I will bring up the functionality logging dot basic config. What file name you want to save this as? So let's say this is the netmiko logs.txt, and what level of debugging you want. You can just define that you want it to be a debugging method, logging.debug, and which library information you want to collect, because as I told you, you can integrate this with other libraries as well. For now, I want to integrate this with only netmiko. So I'll give the package name. The package name is this. I'll just quickly copy that and keep it here. If I would have any other library, let's say import XLRT, and the logging that I want to take is for this and not for this. So I'll take this name and I'll keep it here. And I can put another text file name so that the logs are captured there. Okay, so now I just need netmiko logs just to see what happens in the backend, and I'll rerun. So when I rerun, the file gets created automatically. So if you just scroll here, see the file got created, netmiko logs.txt. So double click that, you can see the logs. It's a debug level. The first library that is reasonable for taking SSH is Paramiko. I can say this way that netmiko depends or relies on another library for SSH connectivity. So it depends on the Paramiko. All the negotiation happens. I told you in the beginning itself, the error which you're getting here will be auto fixed by the library. You can see those negotiation happening. your username gets authenticated, your authentication password is successful. You can see the library is sending some auto commands like terminal width. You can see terminal length. Along with that, you see this BB stands for byte. It's a machine learning data types, because you as a user on the application, you are using strings. Okay, we'll come to this in a later part. Let's not get confused. I'll tell you what is this and forward slash etc etc. But let's go to that command for now. You can see that show IP int brief. It came over on right channel. I told you what is right channel. Someone as a client sending something to the device, it goes in a right channel. What is the name of your channel now? Your name of the channel is SSH underscore transport. How you fetch it back? Over on the read channel. So you're getting back over on the read channel. So you can just visualize it something like this in a step-by-step order. You have a client. The script is written here, and your device is over here. So the first step is that you initiate a SSH. Then what happens? Let's say you are sending out some command. Let's say you are writing on the channel this thing. And then you are also expecting some things coming back to you. So that happens over on the read. And this thing gets printed on the output terminal of your application. So it's like some, like in terms of networking, we say RxTX, in and out. So in terms of automation, we call it as read and write. Okay. Now don't think that it's a read only. That means we cannot edit, or write is something that means it's nothing to do with that concept. That's again a different way of calling in Cisco or something. So in Cisco, if you know, there are three modes: enable, user privilege, and config mode, right? So it has nothing to do with this. In the case of Python automation, write over on the channel is nothing but when you're sending some information to the machine, and read channel is something when you're deriving back some data back to the client. Okay, because this data needs to be transmitted from client and source, a client and server. Client is yourself, the script basically, and server is nothing but the device, which is destination. Okay, like RxTX, the concept of in and out. So in automation, we call it as write channel and read channel. So that is what you see in the backend logs here: read channel, write channel. And once the job is done, it will also disconnect from this end of file, transport thread closed. And this is the behavior of this simple script by giving you the output over on the terminal. So any doubt here? Any doubt?
Sagar, Uday here. I got the output part of it, but when it comes to the various points which you mentioned, right? Package, netnico, library, function, arguments, keyword arguments. Are we expected to have this knowledge from day one of the class, or we will cover this in depth as we move to the actual class?
Yeah, actually, see, today and tomorrow is kind of like a workshop, which is available, or which is kind of accessible by the most of the guys. But from the next weekend, when we are starting, we are first starting with the theory topic. So that time you will be kind of going through all these terms like libraries and the data types, and all these things will be first covered in the theory part.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just had that clarification.
Yeah, so that is why I have not gone in depth today, like what is dictionary, what is the function, what is class, because since you guys have not gone through the theory, I'm taking a topic, something from module 9. So we will go from 1 to 8. That time all this modules 9 and all those things would be clear.
Okay, yeah, that helps. I was a bit worried that we might should have that knowledge kind of. Thank you.
So any other doubt, guys? We have 2 to 3 minutes. After this session, I am also taking another workshop for CCNP to CCI security. So if you guys are interested to attend that, my backend will give you the Zoom meeting for that as well. If you're not interested, then we will catch up tomorrow for the same automation workshop number 2. So the first 2 classes or first 2 workshops are accessible by the audience. The recording will also be available in our YouTube channel shortly, Network Journey. So you can watch the recording. But from the next weekend, the sessions are closed and only the enrolled participant will be having the access to the classes from that point of view. Okay. So you go to Network Journey. Over here under the videos, you will see today's recording and the workshop that we'll conduct tomorrow. After that, we have a dedicated portal which is called learnnetworkjourney.com. So these are a closed or locked kind of thing. So the enrolled participant will get access to that. We are providing 6 months of remote lab access, like what I did now, environment. You get the access for 6 months. It's a unlimited access. You have a good device with you. You have a good laptop or server with you. Then we will also help you to put up this package in your machine. So you can do it
I
on.
have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, I have a desktop in the Windows because my Mac is not working. So is it a lab? Are you guys going to help out in installing like EVNG? I have a license EVNG. I mean, somebody from your backend will help out to install and just now upload all this image.
Sorry, I could not grab you. Can you just rephrase?
So I have like a desktop on the Windows because we tried installing on a Mac. It didn't work. So from your back office, whoever has will help me out installing the lab environment on EVNG.
Okay, you want only the lab installations.
The lab installation using EVNG, is that possible?
Yeah, you can write us on our backend. Okay, so I'll also give you our contact details now. So you can you can send us an email and we will guide you from the backend.
Okay, you can send me that email information.
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, I think my backend has already given you some contacts. Let me put it once again. So this is the email ID which you can.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So guys, those who are connecting for the CCI bootcamp, let me give you the Zoom meeting over here. Okay. And those guys who are just looking for the automation, then the bridge or the Zoom ID was the one which you used today, and you can you can join tomorrow the same time over on that. All right. So it was a nice interactive session. I'll connect you guys with you in the next session. Okay. So have a nice day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.